Okay, today I'm going to demonstrate what I've been talking about, making a professional presentation for your projects. And I'm going to start with the required specifications for project 2, which is new file. The inches should be 11 by 17. Portrait, we need 6 artboards. And I'm going to leave the bleed at 0.125. That's the typical bleed for most projects. The project calls for CMYK 300 DPI. PPI is pretty much the same thing. It's computer versus print. And I'm going to say create. And here we have the 6 artboards. Now you'll notice that they're super close together. If you have any art that runs over the edge, you do not want that to go into the other artboards. So I'm going to go in and change how far apart my artboards are. And you can find that here on the toolbar. And if you don't have this toolbar, go up to Windows and go to Workspace and go to Essentials Classic. Once you click on that, you should have these toolbars over here. I'm going to rearrange these artboards, so I'm going to click this menu here on the right side, the hamburger menu, and I'm going to go to rearrange artboards. What I want the artboards to do is be, I do like it 2 across and 2 down, and I do like it, we're going to keep the 6. Oh, we don't need 6 columns, we only need 2 columns. I don't know why it has 6 columns. 2 columns. What I want to work on here is the spacing. I like to have my artboards at least a ½ inch apart because that gives me area around the artboard in case anything hangs over, or I have something that goes more than like a smidgen over the artboard. And move artwork with artboard. Always have that clicked should you change your artboards around while you're working on them, or if you have things on your artboard already. If anything is locked on your artboard, it will not move. Or on, I'm sorry, on your layers. If you have anything locked on your layers, it will not move. So you must unlock everything before you move your artboards around in order for it to move the artwork with the artboard. So I'm going to click OK. And here you can see that it does give it a bit more room around each artboard. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in, not that much. I did Command minus and plus to zoom in, or you can use the zoom tool over here. I'm going to create a box, a rectangle, which is, and I can do that just by clicking on the artboard after I have chosen my shape. And I'm going to make it 11 by 17. I'm going to show you how to make some guides on your artboard margins, I should say, on your artboard so that you can see where you want to line things up on the edges of your artboard so nothing goes over the edges. So there's my rectangle. I am going to center it on the first artboard, and I did that by clicking a line vertical and a line horizontal. You see that it has got a white fill. I don't want that. I'm going to take that off, and I'm also going to leave this on, the stroke on the outside. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Object, Path, Offset Path. And here it's giving me an offset path of 0.39. That's, as you can see, it's going a little bit farther past the artboard. I want it to go in on the artboard, so I'm going to say minus 0.25. I want a 1/4 inch margin. Actually, I'm going to do a ½ inch margin on the artboard. So I'm going to say, there we go. I just tabbed over just so I could see it and make sure that's where I want it. So it's in previews on here. I'm going to press OK. And then I'm going to select both of these and go up to, I think it's View, Guides, Make Guides. And then it turns into a guide, like you would have a guide that you could put on your artboards or like a ruler. And I'm just going to show you how to create the rulers on the artboard as well by pressing Command R. You can also go up to View, I think it is, and Rulers, Show or Hide Rulers. You can also get a guide by going over to the ruler and pulling out a guide like that, which I'll do in a few minutes. The first thing I wanted to do is to show you for these guides, we're going to create a layer for it. And I'm going to call this one Guides. Anything that goes on here will just be a guide, and I'm going to lock it for now. Well, actually, I'm going to unlock it, and I'm going to delete this first outer one. We don't need that. We just need the inner one, the 1/2 inch margin. I deleted that outer one. So this inner one, I'm going to right click, or you could go up to Edit and copy. You're going to copy, right click, or I'll show you how to do it with the Edit. Paste on all artboards. And when you do that, it does it on all artboards. And as you can see here, we have all of the guides on all the artboards. I'm going to lock that for now because I do not want those to move at all. I'm going to add a new layer, and I'm going to pull this layer down. I'm going to call this Artboard 1/title. Always name your artboards, or I'm sorry, your layers. You can also name your artboards here as well. But you always want to make sure that you have the appropriate layer associated with the appropriate artboard. So artboard 1 would be layer 1. Let me go back to layers, and I'm going to create the title page. I kind of want a black background for the title page, so I'm just going to click here after I pick my shape. I'm going to do 11×17 again, and it has no fill right now, but it has a stroke, so I'm going to turn off the stroke and turn on the fill to black. I am then going to go up here, which you could also press V to get to your selection tool. That's a shortcut. And I will also wanted to show you, if I can find it in here, it might be here. No. You want to make sure that when you're aligning something, you have, and I don't see my align, all of my align tools here. I can go over to, let's see if align is on my, here it is, the align tool here. When you have the align tool and you're using, I'm going to just pull it out and put it over here for a second so I can show you, and put transform back. Okay, so these down here, this is for the artboard, align to artboard. This one should be selection, I think, to what you selected. These should be coming, let me get off of that rectangle. So it should tell you when you hover over it which one it is. And it's not for some reason. I must have my settings not set correctly. In any case, this is aligned to artboard. This is aligned to selection. So if you have 3 things selected, it'll align it to those things that you've selected. Now I'm going to go over here and put some text on my first artboard, and what I want to make sure of, I'm going to do my selection tool again, is that I'm on the correct layer. So I'm on the correct layer. I'm not on the guides. It shouldn't be on the guides because it shouldn't let you be on the guides because it's locked. And I'm going to increase the size of this. And how I did that was I pressed the Shift key and pulled on the corner, and it increased the size. Now this is black. I want this to be white. I can either do this or go to my swatches panel. You always know it's 100% white if it's FFFFFFFF. I am going to make sure it's the appropriate font, which you can go up here and look, or you can go to your properties panel and look. Arial, let's do Arial. And I want to do Arial bold. I like that. It might be a little too small. I'm just going to go project number. This is going to be a generic presentation I'm creating for you. So I want this to be aligned again, center, and it's to the artboard. I'm going to copy this by Option and dragging. I'm going to double click on this so I can change the text, and I'm going to call this project name. I'm hitting escape to get out of there. I get my selection tool back when I do that. That's a little bit too big. I'm going to zoom in either with the magnifying glass or Command plus. I'm going to get my selection tool again. I want to make this a slight bit bigger, so I'm holding down the Shift key and pulling on one of the edges. I'm aligning it to center. I'm going to take this one and I'm going to align it here, and not here, not here, not here, not here. Give it some breathing room, like you would be reading a book. And I'm going to take this corner, Shift click, or Shift and drag, and see how it's snapping. I could turn off snaps, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to zoom in, and this is the perfectionist that you need to become as a designer. I pull a ruler over from the ruler guide over here, a guide from the ruler. Getting my selection tool again. I could use the arrow key, which is not working for some reason. I don't know what's wrong with my preferences. I'm going to pull it over. If you hold the Shift key while you're pulling, it will snap to up and down, but it'll also stay on the same line that you, it'll go horizontally back and forth, and it should not move unless you really try to work to move it up and down. It should stay on that horizontal line, and I'm going to line this up on that ruler guide. I'm going to zoom in, perfectionist, and I'm going to make sure, okay, perfectionist. Do you see this? Perfectionist. Do you see that? Right there? If you don't, you will want to learn how to see that, because people will notice it. Believe it or not, it will be noticed eventually when you start to get to be really like into design very heavily. You will notice these things, and so will the people you work for, or the people that are hiring you. If you haven't noticed the HBO logo hoo-ha about things not lining up correctly, there's a huge thing on social media about that, about it not being lined up correctly. And I'm going to zoom in here on this E. And as you can see, this E in Arial, the bottom part is longer than the top part. I want to line this up with this hashtag mark, so I'm going to move this over here, and I do not know why my Illustrator is acting really weird, and it's getting this black stuff going on. This could happen due to memory, which I do have a lot of stuff open, or you need an update, or you have some corruption in your file. Those are possible reasons. So I line that guide up to the hashtag mark, and now I'm going to decrease the size of this E so it comes right up to there, and I don't know how long I'm going to be able to get that in up to there, because when I zoom in really far I lose this. There we go, I might be able to. Another way that you can get rid of this whole space in here to align things better is by double clicking on this white box here, and you should be able to pull this up now to the very edge. And if you pull up too far, you'll get that little red check mark or little plus mark. It says, hey, there's more information in that box. You need to open it up more. Now I'll be able to see this better and see how close it is to this ruler guide that I am trying to get it perfectly aligned to, which the snapping may be a problem. Now it's not being super cooperative. I'm going to double click this again because it won't let me, it's not going to let me increase the size when it's like that. There, now I got it. Good. Okay, thank you for that. Time, your time is valuable. Okay, so that's within those guides. I'm now going to create the title page. I'm hitting escape to get my selection tool. I'm going to hold down shift and increase the size of this. What's the size of this? 43, that's really big. And I'm going to change it to white. I should open up my swatches panel and just grab it that way. Alright, so what goes in here? Your name. We can have lowercase if you like. And option, drag, class or course name goes here. And notice I'm doing different boxes. Don't put them all in the same box. Oh, and semester. You can change, because you can change the distance between these, should you decide to. As you can see, I'm going down to the margin, and I am setting that right on the edge of the margin. And then I'm bringing this one down. Again, give it breathing room. Not here, not here, not here, not here, not here. A good amount of breathing room. And the name. And what you can do is, if you want to make sure these are all correctly spaced apart equally, you can do that through the align tool again, and you can align it from the middle, align it from the top, align it from the bottom. I'm going to do the bottom because the top, they have different sizes. And as you can see, it was off just a little bit. I was a little bit off. Okay, and this line here is the bleed line. I just want to make sure you know that. That's where images would go over the edge of your, this would be a poster. And you know, you want, if you're going to go edge to edge with a image, you want it to go past the bleed line, because that is the amount of space that the printers need to cut off your paper, the actual poster. And if you don't have it past this bleed line, it could be cut off because the printer shifts. Okay, next I'm going to go over to the next artboard and add another artboard. And this is going to be, if you double click, okay, let me do that again so you know what I did. If you double click in here, you can change it this way. And if you double click here, it'll come up with, like if you double click on the little square, the icon, it'll come up with this, and you can change the color because each layer is assigned a color, so you can tell what layer you're working with when you select things. You can also make it a template or lock it or make it non-printable. You can do all sorts of things with layers. So this is going to be artboard 2, which is going to be source materials 1. Say OK, and I'm going to create some boxes. See how it's green? Coincides with the color of the layer. But I'm also going to use this. I think I'm going to use this one. I'm going to take this and Command C and then go over here to Artboard 2 and make sure I'm on Artboard 2, not 1. Clicking on Artboard 2. I'm going to say paste. And it's white, so I'm going to go over to my swatches and choose black. And then I'm going to bring this up to the corner right by the margin. I'm going to change the text to source materials 1. Escape out of there. I'm going to make, oh wait, I need a box. Where'd it go? I lost, didn't I make a box? I swear I made a box. There it is. It has no stroke. So I'm going to click on stroke, switching the stroke to a color, but it didn't change the color. So I'm going over to my swatches and I'm going to click on stroke and colors black. Make sure I have my selection tool. That's a little small for one of your source materials, so I'm going to shift and drag. I don't think I want it to be perfectly square. Bring it down just a little bit. And then I'm going to option drag this down here, option drag, and option drag. I could have done more, I could have chosen 2 and then done 2. It's another way to do it. 6 of one, half dozen of the other. I'm going to distribute these evenly from the middle, and I'm going to align them. And then while they're all selected, I'm going to press option and drag this over here. While I'm here, I'm going to do Command G for group. And I'm going to do the same thing over here, Command G for group. And I am going to make sure that these two are aligned horizontally. And then I'm going to Command G again for group. So they're now both of them in a group. I'm going to make sure that they're aligned center. I can undo the grouping if I don't want them to be grouped by Shift Command. Let me click on the whole group, Shift Command G. Now the whole group's ungrouped. And Shift Command G to ungroup this one. And Shift Command G to ungroup that one. You can do all this through, I think here, it might be Object. Select. It should be Edit, no, maybe Object. Or it might be Transform. Could be Transform. If you right click, you should be able to get to group and ungroup as well. Okay, so now I'm still on 2. I'm going to bring in an image and show you how to clip an image. Place. My brain just stopped working there for a second. I'm going to place an image in here and not where I want it to be. I want it to be here. Classes. There it is. I think it's this one. Yes, this one. Okay. And it says it's CMYK. It doesn't fit the RGB. I'm going to say OK. I'm going to click on here. And this is really big. It's super big. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this over here. I'm going to select this box. I'm going to select the image. And I'm going to go, you can do it this way, or you can do the shortcut, which is Command 7. Clippy mask, make. And it says you can't make the clippy mask. The top's, oh wait, okay. Sorry, I forgot about that part. So the rectangle has to be on top of the image. Sorry about that. Forgot. Make. There we go. And now you can move the, it'll let me go in here. Hello. I want to go into the clippy mask, pick this, and move it over to here. So I'm inside the clippy mask. This is the clippy mask group. This rectangle, that's the image. I'm going to resize it by Shift. You can hit Shift Command and it'll, wait, Option Shift from the center. It'll make it smaller or bigger from the center. You can move it around wherever you want it to be. So that's how you can get one of your images into one of these tile grid type situations. And now I'm going to close that up, make another artboard, drag it below. This is going to be artboard 3, right? Is it 3? Yes, 3. And it's source materials 2. I'm going to take everything from artboard 1. I'm going to Command C, click on artboard 3, go down here, and right click, paste in place. And why is it say the document visible above? Okay. It's just telling me that the document that I have, this image is not, it's RGB, not CMYK. I don't think I have my links open now. I could show you that, why it's doing that. at another time. So now I'm going to go in here and change this. Just change this to 2. That's done. So the next artboard is just an example. Is artboard 4. Artboard 4 is concept designs. I think is what it was, or concept drawings or concept something. Basically your rough designs. Okay. Now I'm going to take source material. I'm going to copy, Command C. I'm going to go over to artboard 4 and paste in place. I'm going to change this to concept designs. Right? Oh yeah, I forgot to do that. So I'm going to copy all this over. If you have less concept designs, you could do Command C. I'm going over here to artboard 4, paste in place. And it's telling me again that it's an RGB and it's supposed to be seen like, hey, okay, got it. You can make these bigger, these boxes, change them to whatever size you need to. You can make them bigger, closer together. Just as long as they're in some type of organizational grid, please. Grid, across and down. Keep it that way. Okay. Now we're on to the design 1 and design 2. Okay, so artboard 5 is design 1, and I'm just going to copy that from. You could have also done this. You could have taken this and pasted it to all artboards and deleted the one on this one. That's another option you have. I'm going to paste this on both the artboards now. I'm going to go over here to this one, and I'm going to create another artboard 6. I'm just going to do these at the same time because they're both basically the same thing. Design 2, and I'm going to paste in place. There we go, and I'm just going to change the name. Design 1. You could have changed it to design 1 and then copied and pasted it, whatever works. And then I'm just going to put a placeholder in here for a design, which you can do edge to edge. That's an image. Depending on, it's an 11 by 17. You have the option, and I will let you have the option to not put a label on here. So I'll do 2 options. Here's one option where you have your design with a label at the top. Or you can, I'm going to do copy. And this is on the wrong artboard. Okay, so this is a good example. I want to move this up to the artboard 5. There, now it's on artboard 5. Right? Did I move the right thing? No, I did not. I did not move the right thing. I moved the wrong thing. Right? This goes up here. There we go. And this is in the wrong place. This goes here. There we go. Now I'm going to take this and copy and go to artboard 6 and paste in place. There's another shortcut for that too. You can make it from bleed to bleed, which is this red line here. Again, the bleed is the area in which printers need you to put your images past the bleed so that you can doesn't get cut off when it's printed. If you want to keep it inside of the artboard, Shift Option goes in from the center, and there you can put it edge to edge for the margin if you like. If you want to put it on the margin. I'm leaving the text there just so that you know you can do either one. Put it from margin to margin, and yes, I am going to zoom, because I'm a perfectionist. I pressed V to get to my selection tool. And when you're changing the size of your art, do not do this because it will stretch your art. Always have the shift key down so it will change the size of it proportionally. I'm going to zoom out, and your art design should be proportionate, should not change shape, it should not be stretched in either direction, it should not be stretched, this way or any other way, not at all. So this would be an appropriate project presentation layout / design. I am going to save this and I'm going to put it up on Blackboard, so in case you want to use it, you can. And if you want to create it yourself, now you know how. Good luck.